So, judgment based on people's past and their secret agenda. They may come into your life. Usually people come into your life to use your energy while pretending that they are offering things you lack. There are some people who are extremely evil who will put energy into your life in efforts to create the lack so that you need them. Yeah. Do I need to say that again? Let me give you guys a minute so you can say it. Most people present themselves as coming into your life to rescue you and do you a favor. But when you live and make your choices a certain way, your energy is so high, it is something they have not experienced in this realm, on this earth, on this planet, in their reality. So they want you. But what they think of, instead of saying, I need you, like one time there was a woman at a yoga festival. And for those of you who don't know, I used to go to Bhakti Fest and Shakti Fest in order to teach meditation. And then that would then in turn help people not be abused by souls who learn to use energy to suck people dry, dump their negativity, or rape women. So there was a woman while I was standing in someone's booth who decided they would use me, my energy would bring people into their booth. And then as I blessed the product that I handed to each person, you know, like God bless, but you don't say that out loud at a yoga festival, would be respectful to everyone's religion. They would get the blessing that they needed from my Lord Jesus Christ. And then they would say, oh my goodness, this product is fabulous. And I would say, my Lord is fabulous. My belief system is what makes all great energy and make all energy great. So I'm not saying every person, and you have never heard me call myself a Christian. So hipsters and anyone else, you know not to come for me. So let's move on to how I'm trying to help and make the planet a better place, as always, every day of my life. Since I was probably about 4, I remember consciously choosing it when I was between 6 and 8, and I was on a full roll by age 8. So let's make the planet a better place. And you know, a planet happiness, make your planet a better place so that you are a universe spinning and orbiting and pushing energy into this world. What kind of funky planet are you? I try to tell people all the time, don't plug into other people. People are recycled trash. Why eat the trash? Plus, it makes the overall planet more funky, right? But this is what some people wanted. They want you to be funky so that you think you have to adapt your behaviors to ones that you wouldn't choose with your own free will if you didn't have a lack or a suffering. So some people create, they gossip, right? Remember part 1 and 2 and 3 of this series? Some people literally gossip in order to create chaos in your life or make other people who don't understand that there's more fun sins than judging. And I got that message from God, right? Most of you know I was born with a lot of spiritual gifts. And so the message I got was that campaign needed to be called There's More Fun Sins Than Judging. And the reason is, if you judge the title and think you know what it means without taking the class or asking me, you are showing your most obvious, in-depth, perfect hobby, which is judgment. So there's more fun sins than judging. It's not it's more fun sins than judging. It's not do more sins than judging. It is literally there more fun sins than judging. There are, right? Contraction. There's more fun sins than judging. And it came with a little chibi cartoon. And one of the cartoons that is me, right? Probably Wilhelmina, I think. But anyway, that's a class, that's a book, that's a a talk, seminar, special, retreat, right? All broken down, different amounts of in-depth materials, depending on how long we have together, how deep we can go, or how fast I need to talk. So, people using gossip to make you have suffering or lack, making other people ignore when some people say source, some people say divine energy, right? Making God tells them to help. God tells them to do something. I know, because I've had God tell me to give people $100 bill, but it was after he already told me keep $100 bill on me at all times so that I could give it away. And then all I had to listen for was that's the person. But first I had to follow what he said and keep $100 bill on me at all times. Well, that kept me away from a poverty mindset, while someone's goal, including my own family, wanted me in a poverty mindset, right? If I rely upon them, then they get to control my behavior. Well, I was writing books to stop pedophiles, and they had a couple generations of covering for pedophiles. And I wasn't going after like low budget pedophiles. I was going after pedophiles that were having children shipped to them and then bragging and then paying people off huge bribes, hundreds of thousands of dollars. And to top it off, they were bragging no one could stop them, and anyone that tried, they threatened their credentials or tried to blacklist or blackball them. So that was 59 multimillionaire pedophiles in positions to get away with it for like 10 to 17 years is what the average was of how long they'd gotten away with it, who were stopped permanently, right? So that was a very good thing. An alarming thing was people in my family didn't want to say, Mia won't speak to us because she writes about pedophiles and we have 3 every generation. So they just each made up different reasons of why I wouldn't speak to them. 2 of them, no, 3, even made up reasons they weren't speaking to me, because if they had to admit I wasn't speaking to them, then they might have had to admit why I wouldn't be speaking to them. Okay? So let's go back to people. Now we have the arrogance, which is this part of this series. Okay? You know, I don't like to leave people hanging. What if this is the only part they plugged into? What if this is the only part they found first? I don't want them to feel like they're incomplete in their data. They may be incomplete in details or with more depth, but now they understand what's been happening that they're seeing in their life, maybe not understand how it was happening in their life. Okay? So when you think about it, some people think in society, okay, men and women. I'm not saying every man, I'm not saying every woman. I'm saying we have a societal history as a country, as a world, as a planet, to say create a circumstance that blocks women from making money so that men can be the source of money, and then men can, I always say, get women and just put it there, right? What I was taught and what history shows you is so they can get women to do things like marry them, sleep with them, have intimate relationships, have temporary relationships, have no relationships, get them to do things, even devilish and demonic things like people are now starting to get arrested for, who have done it for 20 and 30 and 40 years. Well, when I started going after that sort of evil, I was not trying to stop evil. I was trying to stop the harm of children. And what I found out is that's what was doing it, okay? And then when I didn't turn into a coward and shy away. I still went after them. And, fix the victims, just doing whatever God told me to do, using Chinese medicine, using NLP, using Ho'oponopono, using the things that work as opposed to people who were using things that didn't work, who were women, and calling it women's empowerment so that women would rely on them for years, sometimes decades. So put your focus back on the societal norm that we have accepted. Women pay more for dry cleaning. Mechanics charge us more. More for the same job they do to another car when a man drives up. So what happened, and I'm not saying because I can't think, I'm saying so we can pause, so you can fill in the blanks with some of the things you know that create a differential in pay. Ask a multimillionaire female. That difference still exists. There are still men who think she is more susceptible to his request because of money. Now, the problem with that is, and the solution to that is a wonderful thing. I find it just fabulous. Most of you know I have spent most of my life hanging around multimillionaire playboys. I love my friends. They are hilarious. Their lives are entertaining, and the stories they tell and the things I see and saw were just amazing, right? But they get to a point where they're tired of attracting demonic women into their lives. Women who don't love them, never love them, think they're going to take advantage of it, and then get mad and tell what a horrible monster they are when they don't meet their end goal. Okay? And then other ones that may jump on the party line and say, I married him, but he was such a horrible husband, right? But she married him with a deal. You get this many millions, have these many kids, you get this much when we divorce, you get this much while you're here. She didn't marry like heart to heart. She didn't marry for love. She didn't marry that soul. My friends will tell you that I will say whatever I want to them, and they know it. Now, they're also relieved because I generally only say what God tells me to say. But my friends think it's hilarious that there's a woman on the planet, one, that they can't get because I only date for love, right? And you have to get God's approval. And then some people say, how did you have 2 evil ex-boyfriends? They serve the purpose that God wanted me to have in my life. Okay? So it wasn't a matter of new level, new devil. It was a matter of, have you ever stood in front of someone who thinks they get to do whatever they want to you, and they're bullying you and they're talking all this crap, and when you look behind you, everybody else is being a coward? Well, guess what? Those 2 exes weren't. Okay? And when God said they're a gift but don't seem like a gift, and I never date more than one man at a time, and usually the same man for a couple years, right? I was staying away from marriage for 2 reasons. One, to protect someone I loved so that someone else who was just crazy wouldn't bring violence into my life. And 2, because I wanted to do work to make the planet a better place, and I was raised to cook and bake and sew and run my house in perfect systems. So it's always hilarious when people think they can judge me because they don't even know who I am. Even my sorority sisters have no idea who I am. All these years, okay, I've been in my sorority. I've been in AKA since 1998. There's only 3.5 years that I was not active in my sorority, including when I lived in Europe. I was still active. So I made sure, once I saw that most of them were mean girls, prone to judgment and gossip, and I saw unbelievable levels of cruelty, which to me is the devil, I would only see them at meeting. They can't tell you my favorite ice cream. They can't even tell you my name. They can tell you what they think my name is because it's on the roll, but they can't tell you the name I was born with, the name I was christened with, the name you see, they can't tell you who I am in any way. They can't tell you my favorite color. They can't tell you anything about me except for maybe how tall I am. Even my hair is naturally red, but I put moisturizer on it so it's always dark. So I don't know that people that only see me at a meeting once a month could even tell you that, because I've always chosen not to socialize with them, because I don't socialize with gossips, because I believe that gossip is the devil. And if any of you have been bullied or unknowingly subjected to gossip, it's like a bunch of demons either are them or they listen to them. They're envious either of your connection with God, your light, your spiritual gifts, your dress, the fact that the boys like you and not them, the fact that you can have kids, they can't have kids, the fact that you want kids and they don't want kids. It does not matter, right? They just come up with some envy, and then they feed that envy with evil, and they whisper to other people. So I'll tell you a story that a lot of life coaches tell. It is when people gossip, it's like opening up a feather pillow standing on the top of a skyscraper, and those feathers go everywhere. So you can never take it back because you don't know where it lands. Now add the energetic truth. It's not as light, okay, double entendre. It's not vibrationally as light. It's not white like a feather, and not all feathers are white, but the ones in feather pillows still tend to be one and down feather pillows, right? Then, oh my goodness, it gets worse, because it's really hellfire as it lands, because they sent it to hurt you without the strength to stand up in your face and say something or do something. So that's why they sent it. They didn't gossip to help the community. They didn't gossip to build their life. They gossiped to, what did one of the witches in Salem tell me? To bring you down a peg. So these are common women sitting next to you at church, okay, while your pastor's preaching and talking, while the choir's singing, right? What they do is get flying monkeys, like a narcissist, which are also demons. Flying narcissists, just evil, evil, evil. Okay? So now you turn flying monkeys into flying narcissists. You have made more narcissists whose whole life is about gossip. See, I've never wondered as a kid why men sit together. I was so grateful when I saw Gone with the Wind, because I knew I didn't have to sit and listen to gossip if I wasn't around my family. Because the women in my family have never gossiped around me, although we do have two awful gossips who just gossip and did the same things to people's lives. But then it also did show up in their life to expose how evil they were. They started looking like it. Okay? So when I saw that movie, I noticed men talk about stuff. If ladies are present, not females, but if ladies are present, they tend not to talk about inappropriate things. So they will still amuse you, host you, right? But they're not going to just disrespect you. If you're around a group of men and they disrespect you, they don't consider you a lady, and you should not consider them friends, and you should get away from them. Okay? Because then you get into other energetic pollution, and you don't need that. So in regards to women who gossip, I just made sure I went to sorority meeting and I left. I had one sorority sister that we met outside of sorority before we knew we were in the same sorority. And I was her friend for about 18 years. But she was not my friend. I just thought she was. And she couldn't even tell you much about me, because she was always there for what I could offer her in her life. Comfort for being a 40-year-old virgin, stuff like that. Self-esteem. being like her own personal life coach before I was a life coach, right? This was when I was just a teacher, not a doctor yet. And this was from, my early 20s till almost my 30s. And then I started to realize I never call her when I need something. I call God when I need something. I never call her, because I'm almost never sad. If I'm sad, and I mean major life tragedies that would make people depressed for decades, it only gets me for about 15 minutes, an hour. The most devastating 3 things that happened, they had me for an hour as I fell asleep. And then when I woke up praising, God took it with them. Okay? So I'm not saying be ashamed if you don't have that wherewithal. I'm saying I learned early on that I was made with that level of wherewithal so that I could write books and do talks and tell you this is what's happening. You're not depressed. You're hit by the energy of all these little peanut heads. Send it back. Be like tsunami. Give it to God, but don't keep it. And if people who run around calling themselves Christians but being judgmental made you not trust God, then realize that was those people, and their purpose was to steal your faith so they could steal your strength. So I'm not talking about a building. I'm not talking about a religion. I'm talking about creator source energy. As a Native American woman, I am telling you, look in the sky and say, what made the sky? That's what you talk about. When I give my clients anchors and they feel like they're lost in the world and they want to leave it, I anchor them to the sun. And I let them know, no matter what is happening, as long as the sun comes up, God's still there. He's not on vacay. Vacay means vacation. Okay? So he's not on vacation. Now, a lot of churches been on vacation are in the pits of hell. Okay? Others are in service to the dark. But there are some people who are dark who help me stop those multimillionaire pedophiles. And there are some people in church who help me stop those multimillionaire pedophiles. They did it in different ways. Like some praying, some protecting, some helping expose, some buying my art or sponsoring my shows to make sure that I could be the one who stand up, right? Stand up, stood up in the past, even when I had to create a series called This Villain Was Here When I Rode Into Town, which means most of the time people know who the villain is and they know what the villain's doing. But nobody's stopping him because they don't want to get hit by the villain or the evil that he is or surrounds him. Or by the cowards who are trying to pull down the hero to say, don't stand up to that villain because we're scared. Okay? So people will put on you. There are some places you can live where everybody's looking to make sure you don't need anything from them and you don't ask them for anything. And then they can't figure out why their vibe is not equal, why their vibe is so low. They go to church, they tithe, they sing when the choir comes, they praise the preacher, but their vibe is so low because they gossip, or they lie, or they harm. Who you are when nobody's looking is who you always are. You need to ask yourself what that is. And don't let people come into your life and create agendas in which creating need for you so that you need them and then they hurt you. That's not saying don't accept help from people. Yes, God. Because it should be coming from those who listen to God. And God said, do this, and they come and do it. Or God says, drive here, and you drive there, and there's your blessing. God says, don't go here, don't go there. Okay? So I'll talk to you about my stories in Egypt later. I have to go do a talk for some people.